Hello, everyone, and welcome. We will go ahead and get started now. Welcome to the Arts Council for Long Beach Community Project 2023 presentation. We have Lisa DeSmit, Director of Programs, and Sergio Alandias, Programs Associate, presenting today. And below, you can see our different handles and ways to connect with us. Some background on the Arts Council. Our mission: the Arts Council for Long Beach cultivates the physical, social, and economic characteristics of Long Beach neighborhoods by nurturing and enlivening the arts. Our vision here at the Arts Council for Long Beach envisions a thriving Long Beach that benefits from universal participation in the arts. Arts LB overview. We serve individuals, groups, and organizations through advocacy, arts education, public art, and grant making within the city of Long Beach. We practice profound inclusion as a collaborator and convener for the benefit of all communities. Before we get started, you can locate the question button on the bottom of your screen. It's in the black and gray bar, and it will have a Q&A symbol. That if you have any questions, feel free to use that. We will be sure to answer all questions at the end of the presentation. Some upcoming events. June 21st is a Long Beach Make Music, which happens throughout the city. And this coming Friday at the Billie Jean King Library, we'll celebrate Pride with a viewing of The Passionate Pursuits of Angela Bowen. And next week, if you can't catch it this week, you can catch it next week at Burnett Neighborhood Library on the 30th from 2 to 4 p.m. With that, I'll hand it over to Sergio.
Great, thank you, Judy. Go ahead and start our presentation.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa DeSmit. I'm Director of Programs with the Arts Council for Long Beach. And Sergio, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
And I'm Sergio Alandias. I'm the Programs Associate with the Arts Council.
And we're going to be presenting about our community project grant, which is one of several grant opportunities. We'll do a short overview of some of the other grants, but we do also have a workshop next week for the Professional Artist Fellowship. So feel free to join both. We will be recording this and putting it up on our YouTube channel. So if you missed anything, don't worry about that. We'll be having that up on our YouTube channel and you can access it there as well. Before we get started, I do want to talk a little bit about the Arts Council, who we are, and this kind of grounds us in the grant opportunity to understand what our mission is. Judy gave a little brief overview and what we do here at the Arts Council. So we are stewards of the diverse and thriving arts community of the city of Long Beach. We were formed by local leaders in 1976 who wanted to nurture, cultivate, and inspire the arts in our community. Our past and present leadership has stayed true to this mission. And today our work ensures that established artists are supported, new artists are discovered, and that the arts, which are critical to the vibrant and diverse community, will always thrive in our city. We are unique in our advocacy for the artists who enrich the quality of our lives and in our singular focus on making Long Beach a place that benefits from universal access to the arts. So as you're thinking about your grant application, think about those kind of goals that we have as the Arts Council. And when you're thinking about your application, that's what we are grounded in and we're looking for within our mission and what we do here at the Arts Council. I do want to go over some of our grants. So we do have annual grant opportunities, and all of those opportunities are due on the same July 17th date. And so those are Professional Artist Fellowship, which we're having a workshop next Wednesday on, Community Project, which is the one that you're all here today. And then we have Operating Grants 1 and 2. We don't have workshops for those, but we are offering one-on-one support if you are a new grantee and want to find out either if you're eligible for it or need assistance with that application. We do require that you have a brief meeting with us before applying for those grants, just so that we can ensure eligibility and make sure you're not wasting your time filling out that application if you're not eligible for that. So if you're thinking about applying for operating, please do reach out to us to schedule that meeting. And within these 4 different grant categories, you can only apply to one. So you cannot apply for a professional artist fellowship and a community project grant. It's only one. You can't apply for community project and operating. You have to choose which one you're going to apply for. We also have our quarterly micro grants. And I know some folks here have been recipients of those micro grants. So I'm excited to see hopefully some other projects coming through. And those are wonderful grants that are offered quarterly that offer up to $1,000 per fiscal year for free programming or also for professional development. And you can find all of these grant programs on our website at artslb.org/programs/grants. So we're here to talk about the community project grant. And this is a program that supports exemplary artistic, cultural, and arts educational projects of arts and cultural organizations in Long Beach. And through the community project grant programs, the Arts Council for Long Beach partners with arts and cultural organizations. Just a little bit about the operating grant to give a brief overview so folks can understand what that is. So operating grant 1 and 2 provide unrestricted operating support to Long Beach-based arts and cultural organizations whose primary mission is to collect, preserve, present, and/or commission exemplary works of art, either visual art exhibitions, theater, dance, musical performances, etc. And works of art must be of regional significance for the benefit of the general public and provide educational opportunities that enable audiences to better understand and appreciate the arts. And so what really does separate the community project from organizational grants is that budgets to even qualify for operating 1 must have a budget of $250,000 annually, and operating 2 is over $1 million and above. And also needs to be a 501c3, cannot apply with a fiscal sponsor, whereas with community project grants, we do allow fiscal sponsorship. So that's one of the main differences. There are some other slight differences with our guidelines. So if you have questions about eligibility, please reach out to us so that we can help clarify that before you apply for one of the grants. And then the Professional Artist Fellowship is recognizing exemplary artists in Long Beach for their recent work through the fellowship. And this is for individual artists, living artists, and it's just recognition of their work. There's not a project associated with it. And we'll be going into more detail next week in the workshop on how to apply for that. So I think the difference really is that this is for organizations, established organizations that have been doing programming for at least 2 years, arts programming in Long Beach. And the fellowship is for individual artists. So how is funding determined? So what happens first is you'll submit your application. An Arts Council for Long Beach staff will be reviewing and making sure that the application is eligible, that it's complete and not missing anything. And then after that, we'll prepare for panels. These panels are folks that are not Arts Council staff. It's independent panel. And so they convene and score the applications. And these panelists are regional professionals who have a lot of experience in the arts and cultural sector, either here in Long Beach or regionally. And panels are different every year. And so, you may get one score from one panel. The next year it's completely different. So we really do look to these panelists to review these applications and determine the funding amounts based on scores. So panelists will make recommendations, and then these will be reviewed by the allocations committee. And then after the allocations committee reviews, the funding will be voted on and ratified by the board of directors. And then applicants will be notified after we receive our city contract. And I'll go over the timeline a little bit later, but it is a bit of a long timeline. So there will be some waiting that happens. Even though the application is due July 17th, you likely won't hear until either end of the year or early in 2024 about the application. So just know that now, as you're looking to apply, that you're not going to hear back very quickly at all about this application, because we need to secure our city contract first. So eligibility for the community project grant. So it's for organizations, I said, so they need to be either arts, cultural, or historical organizations that are headquartered in the city of Long Beach. They either need to be a 501c3 organization, or if it's not a 501c3 organization, applying with a fiscal sponsor that is headquartered in Long Beach and meets both, either if it's 501c3 or fiscal sponsorship, needs to meet the following requirements. So has a minimum of 2 years of arts and cultural programming experience in Long Beach, uses qualified artists or professional artists, arts administrators in programming, planning, and delivery, has confirmed programming, scheduled and secured venues, and that's for the 2024 fiscal year. So that starts October 1st, 2023 and goes through September 30th, 2024. So there needs to be programming scheduled for that time. Uses disciplines that include visual, performing, literary, audio, media arts, and folk or traditional arts. So the applications will be evaluated by the panel on the following criteria. And if you want to get more details about this criteria, it is in our guidelines, and we'll show you where that's located on our website if you want to dive into the guidelines and look into more detail. But this is really critical when you're filling out your application, that you're looking at, this is really what panelists are looking at to score. So they're going to be looking at artistic merit. Does the organization have high quality artistic programs? Is there appropriate training and qualifications and experience of the staff that's administering the programs? And is it innovative, creative, and unique? We're also looking at organization management. Is there sound management structure? Is the budget information complete, correct, and fully disclosed? And does the organization have the ability to match the required matching funds? And last is community impact. Does this project benefit the community in Long Beach? Are there artistic personnel that represent the diverse composition of the community or core audience or target audience? So this is a little bit of a snapshot. There's a little bit more detail on the evaluation criteria on our guidelines. So what is in the actual application? So you'll start the application and there'll be questions about the organization, contact information, that type of information, what council district it's located in, that type of stuff. Then we'll ask for some narrative information about the organization, mission, etc. We do ask about staff and artists. We do ask about the board of directors or steering committee members. If it is not a 501c3, we want to know about the committee or whoever is managing the organization, either volunteer or what have you. And then we'll ask for an arts equity and cultural inclusion statement. We will ask for the project budget form with notes, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about the project budget form. Most recent board of directors approved organization budget. And then the IRS tax determination letter for either the nonprofit that's the fiscal sponsor or the 501c3 that's applying. And then if this is a program that's going to be in school, we do ask for a letter of support for those. And then we ask for artistic documentation and marketing materials. So we will look at the budget form briefly after this, but I do want to note that ineligible expenses are listed on the guidelines, and I have them listed here as well. So out of town or travel activity is not eligible for the grant. Capital expenditures, including permanent equipment, land, building, or construction services, fundraising events or hospitality or food costs, trust or endowment debt reduction efforts or ongoing deficit operations, programs with religious or sectarian purposes that are part of a religious service, and expenses that are incurred before the start date of the grant period. And again, that's October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. And then any programs that aid in or service political campaigns or political groups. And then there is a requirement of a one-to-one match for community project grant recipients. And this needs to be a dollar for dollar match. It cannot be in kind. If you are selected to receive a community project grant, we will ask in the contract for you to list where that match is coming from. And then a second time with the final report, we will ask for you to reaffirm where the matching funds are coming from. And that'll need to be reflected in your final budget as well. And so those matching funds can come from county, state, or federal government grants or earned income. Funds from in-kind contributions may not be used, as I said before. And then any Arts Council funding cannot be used as a match, or city funding also cannot be used as a match. So we're going to go into the budget form just a little bit so you can see what that looks like and where to find it. So if you go onto our website on the community projects grant page, so here's our website, artslb.org. You'll go to grants. And once you get to the grants page, you can click on community projects. This is also where you'll find the application. So the guidelines are above, and the budget form is just right below there. And then the application is right below that. So that's how you'll access everything. And so it'll be a Excel sheet that you'll be downloading for the budget form. And this is your project budget. This is not the organization's annual budget. That's a separate document that you'll turn in. I do want to note that some organizations do apply. For example, if it's a theater group, we've seen some organizations that apply for their entire season, and that's their project. So in that case, it may be their annual budget. It just really depends, but we're really looking for a project budget here. So whatever the project is that you're proposing for the community project grant, that should be the budget here. This is not the annual budget. That's a separate form that you'll upload into the grant application. And so if you go up to the top, so we're asking for income. That's how are you going to pay for this? So, and specifying where the one-to-one match is coming from. So is that match coming from ticket sales, cost of admission? Are there going to be other income that you're getting? Scroll down. Is it coming from government, city money? And just because you have city money coming in for this project, isn't going to disqualify it. It's just, it can't be used for the match. So you can still list it here. And so this is where you'll list all of the income for the project, or anticipated income, because sometimes you're still in the early stages of the project. And then the second part is the expenses. So what is it going to cost to put this project together? What's the salaries for artists and performers? What about program staff, fundraising salaries? All of this is where you're going to list where the costs are for this project. And then you'll subtotal everything, and then you'll get the grand total at the bottom. So that's what we're looking for with the project budget. And so I also want to go into artistic documentation. We did do a full deep dive into artistic documentation with our grant writer. That was for the Creative Core grant. And that is probably very helpful and would apply to this as well. So if you will link that workshop, if you'd like to get some feedback on how to do artistic documentation really well. We do a deep dive into artistic documentation. But what we're looking for is one PDF, and that'll be uploaded into the grant application. And we understand that there's all different types of genres of art that we'll be submitting. So your artistic documentation might be video, audio, it might be visual. And so what we're asking is that if it's video, that you're linking to the video, up to 5 minutes. Audio, if you're hyperlinking in the PDF, hyperlinking for both video and audio, again, up to 5 minutes. So whether that's SoundCloud or however you're going to share the audio, we do want you to list how you want it to be played back to the panelists. And then for visual, you can provide up to 10 images. So if it's a video, but if it's visual, it's a slide deck of up to 10 images. So that would be one sample of artistic documentation for visual. And so we recommend putting it together as a PowerPoint with one slide per, with one image per slide, sorry. And then it's best practices to include the date, artist, any information that's pertinent on that slide. And then file sizes should be no larger than 300 DPI and 5 megabytes or smaller. And then if you're looking for the second part, which is looking for publications, if you're for literary works, and then again, one PDF, we're looking for one PDF of all of your artistic documentation. So you'll save it as one PDF and upload that to the grant portal. So the grant timeline, so the application is open now on our site. Deadline is July 17th and 11:59 p.m. is when that needs to be in by. We'll be conducting the grant panels in August. So between July 17th and the time of the grant panels, Arts Council staff will be reviewing these applications. We may reach out if we have a question about something within the application that doesn't make sense, or if we need more information. So you may hear from us during that time. We'll send the applications to the grant panelists and they'll pre-score, and then we'll conduct the panels in August. The board will be voting on those recommendations in September. Also in September, the city council passes its annual budget. And so that's where they'll vote on the funding, the contract with the Arts Council for these grants. And so usually between October and December is when we have our contract process with the city manager's office. So we can't send out contracts until we finalize that contract with the city manager. And that's when they'll confirm what the funding is. We'll get percent for arts funding as well. And we'll establish the reporting deadlines. So sometime usually around January, February is when the contract and first payments are distributed. And then the grant period again is October 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2024. And we do recognize that that October 1st date is before you may actually hear about the grant. And it's just the way that our fiscal year is. It's unfortunate that it works out that way, but so your project can take place anytime between October 1st, 2023 and September 30th, 2024. So how to apply? We can go back to the webpage again so you can see where the application is. And Sergio will show you a little bit of the application. We do have a new grants portal, so if you haven't used it before, please pay close attention to how to use this grants portal.
Great, thank you, Lisa. So when we land in the community project grant page, you'll want to scroll down from the top to the 3 buttons. You'll want to click the community project grant application. Once you click this, you'll be taken to our grant software. And so if you are a new applicant, you'll be selecting the new applicant button. But if you have already applied for grants with the Arts Council for Long Beach using our software, you've already created an account. So you'll go ahead and start by logging in with your email and password that you use for that account. So just to go on new applicant, I'll go ahead and show y'all. So this is what you'll be met with in order to create your account. You'll want to do your email, confirm your email as well as your passwords. So once you do this step, you'll actually get the confirmation email that you want to do to verify your actual email. You do have 24 hours to do that. So it is something that's timely. So once you actually do start the application, you'll want to make sure that you have enough time and give yourself enough time to do all these steps. But I'll go ahead and log in using my account. I'll go ahead and return to log in, and I'll pause my screen for a second. Okay, so I've typed my email and my password. I'll go ahead and log in. Now we see here your past applications. So we see that I've already started one actually. So I'll go ahead and click on that. First, you'll be met with this box right here, and this is where you put your organization tax ID number. Um, this will be the first thing that you'll have to do in order to access the account. So I'll go ahead and do that. Oh, sorry, I was actually on mute. So I'll go ahead and go from the beginning. So once you actually log in, you'll be met with the organizational profile page. This is where you actually put in all the information of your organization relating to funding, in-school programming, your nonprofit status, and your tax ID number and your letter. I do want to note that when you choose a file to upload, you'll want to hit choose file, select your PDF, and then hit upload. This step is actually very crucial because if you don't hit upload, your file actually won't get uploaded to the system and it won't let you continue on with the application. And sometimes we'll get applications that accidentally don't have any files if it's not a requirement, but we do want to make sure that you click that upload button. Um, and if you continue to go forward, we'll just have to verify this information right here real quick. You could start to put your contact information for your primary contact person, your secondary contact person, the districts. So this is more just contact-based information. Um, as you can see here, if you try moving on, it'll ask you to do your verifying steps. So there will be steps that you actually have to take before you continue on with the application. And so these are different, like who's going to sign the documents, who's submitting the grant application so that we know who to contact. This is where you submit your narrative in terms of your organizational mission and goals, the community and the audiences that y'all reach, your artistic policy, the proposed project, the project audience and community, any of the promotion and pricing and publicity and marketing that would go with it. A completed project that's very similar in magnitude and characteristics of the one that you're proposing, as well as a project evaluation. Here in leadership and staff is where you'll list the staff and artists of the organization, as well as the boarding committee. This is just a listing, their names, their positions, as listed right here, and a description and a one paragraph bio. This is where you include your arts and equity cultural inclusion statement by writing it right here. And then the project budget, as we discussed earlier, you could access it within the application itself, or you could also access it as we showed you through our webpage. Once again, please, when uploading your budget, click that upload button in order to ensure that the file actually gets uploaded. And any budget notes down here. Artistic documentation, as we mentioned, we're looking for one PDF of your artistic documentation, be it video links, audio links, the slide deck for your visual images with the information on it. And the same thing goes for your marketing materials. We're looking for that one PDF with those links, those images, just so that it makes it really easy for the panelists to view your work and access it, and they don't have to go digging for things. And then once you're ready to actually submit your application, you'll be met with saving and submitting. I do recommend that you actually save and finish later prior to reviewing and submitting your application. Reason being is that you'll get a copy of your application, and you'll also get just an email thread of what you've submitted. I also do want to make the recommendation that you write your answers on a Google Doc or a Word document prior to starting the application, just in case if there's a technical issue with the application where if you think you submitted something but it actually didn't go through, you have the backup on a Google Doc and we'll be in communication, and that you could just send that over. But once you actually are ready to submit everything, you'll go ahead and review and submit. And as I haven't filled out anything, it'll tell me what I'm actually missing. And so this is a great tool. Say if you go through it and you think you're all done and you hit that submit button, you'll be met with this message if you're actually missing anything. And so once you meet all the criteria and you're ready to go, you'll actually be able to save and submit. And then you'll be getting a message that says, thank you for submitting. You'll be receiving an email as well, and just keeping a lookout.
So I already saw in the chat that folks were asking about where to send questions to. So if you do have any questions, please do email us at grants@artselbia.org. And we're monitoring that email pretty frequently. We'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible with questions. Please don't ask us at, in the evening on the 17th questions. We may not be able, we'll do our best but we won't be able to stay up till midnight answering questions on that day. Next slide. And that's our presentation. We're going to open it up. I'm going to start by answering the questions in the Q&A, and then we can open it up for folks who have questions and you want to turn on your camera and ask questions that way as well. There were a couple questions in the chat. I'm going to start with that. Judy, if you could put the link to next week's meeting in the chat for the Professional Artist Fellowship.
Okay.
And then we did get a question about a nonprofit residential HOA to get assistance with the mural installation. So the HOA is not an arts organization. I'm not sure about history of arts programming, because in order to be eligible, you would need to have at least 2 years of history of arts programming to be eligible for community projects. This may be a microgrant application. Again, that's up to $1,000 in quarterly. The next application deadline is August 15th for our microgrants. If it is an HOA that does have a strong history of arts or cultural programming, that may be something that's eligible, but I believe we might need to have a more in-depth conversation about eligibility with that project. And then there was a question about if you were denied, can you reapply for the same or different concept? I'm not sure if the question is like denied last year's community project or denied on a different grant application, but you're more than welcome to apply for the same project. We're not excluding any past projects. And in fact, it'll be a completely different panel reviewing the applications. So as I said before, different panels have different outcomes with the scoring. So we do keep it independent. So please, you are welcome to apply for the grant, even if you did not receive it on a past application, whether that was community projects or a different grant application. And that's all the questions that we have in the Q&A. We can open it up if anybody else has more questions. I'm going to pause the recording